everyone, welcome to Makeover Monday Viz Review for week 8, and it's great to have you all on board. Just kind of settling in here. Welcome, Marian, to another week.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. It's been such a nice day outside. I spent more time outside than inside, but
That's very good. Yeah, we've got really good weather here. We had 13 degrees, sunshine, blue skies. It's been quite wonderful.
we had 18.
Well, you're on the continent. We're an island. And we have Brexit and we need to be punished for it. So, yeah. I think audio-wise we're good as far as I can see. Everyone seems to be happy. Hello to those who have dialed in.
Hello.
Shall we get into it?
Yes, we shall.
All right. I will move over to data.world for a first quick look at the dataset and the original viz. So for those of you, well, I mean, everyone really gets their data from here. But the original viz comes from Hania Nikovska, and this is just one page. When you go to the interactive version on the right side, you can click through all of the context, and she's got, a lot of information in there. I encourage you to take some time to go through that if you haven't yet. If you've just worked with the data, it's really informative. So, yeah, there we are. And then there's a data set below. And I think that's it. And I just realized something. I submitted my viz earlier and I forgot to put my name and the data source on it. What an idiot. I don't think that's ever happened. I was in a rush. Okay.
I haven't finished mine, so I'll have to remember that later.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we will move on to our collection. Just put this together literally 10 minutes ago. So we're gonna start at the top and we're gonna make our way down. And this week we have quite a lot of maps. So sometimes we might not even bother talking about the map on a viz if we've already covered stuff and focus more on the other elements. And we'll start with Ebere. And let's see what she has created. And great to see so many people in the chat. Alrighty. So.
Open this. I'm going to look at the image.
Okay, pro-choice protest against abortion of malformed. It should be fetus, not fetal. So it's fetuses with malformations or fetal malformation, I guess. Okay, so there's a bit of context. And I'm just going to jump out of the full screen because what I want to do is I want to bring this. Oh, no, I want to bring this back up. Yeah, so because I know there was a bit of conversation around copying and pasting text, but I think this is all good, and I think that Ebere has kind of reworded this in her own words. So well done there. Now it says it's got some big ass numbers, but they're not really big. They're small. So one law, 1,358 protests and 1,260 locations. I think these would be much more impressive if they were really nice and large. Now, the map. I've got no big issues with the map, except that Poland is on the far right. And mine started the same way because the default is the US is the middle of the universe. But if you actually... Oh, and I can zoom and pan and zoom this, maybe? Here we go. Just shift it around so that Poland is more in focus. Maybe we'll do it like that. Because Poland is the center of the story, so it should also be the center of the picture, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Marian?
I'm wondering. I know it's the perfect data set for the map. I don't even know if we need it for this. I mean, for this particular one, right? I like the timeline series, like kind of the really big spikes on the left, and then it kind of dies down towards the right, and you can annotate that really nicely, and then have the big numbers on top. For me, the map personally doesn't do anything other than take up a lot of space, and it's a bunch of. I don't want to diminish, the topic or the seriousness of that, but I don't think it adds anything to the story. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I agree on the map. Like it's not really showing. I mean, it shows that most of the protests were in Poland, and there's a lot in Europe, but the map isn't really annotated. Like it doesn't. The idea is that the map shows that this is about Poland, but other countries, people in other countries are protesting in support of Poland, but that isn't mentioned anywhere here. Because people might wonder, well, if this is about Poland, why is there a map of the world? So that needs to be clearer. And then in the there's some typos in the text, so Poland should be capitalized in there. And so I think the timeline, like you say, is really helpful. You've got the annotations there. Just making sure that everything is connected logically. And then if you want to have, I think the big as numbers are a good idea. I would remove the one for the law because, it's unnecessary. And then removing the tooltips as well. But the number should be really big so that it's it has more of an impact on the audience.
Yeah, I think the timeline and number in combination with the number of protests, I think that would be enough. I don't think putting locations next to that for me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just there's a lot of protests. Does it matter that's across? I don't know. I can't make up my mind on that. I like that it's really clean and simple. There's not too much stuff on there. You could just refocus the map and make it smaller and give the timeline a bit more space to breathe. I think that would look much better.
Okay. Then next we have Aditya. And from the picture already, I'm getting the impression that this is going to be a lot of work to get through as a viewer, because there's a lot of text. It's all bold. It's in color. I find this really difficult to look at because everything is shouting at me, but I don't know what to actually focus on.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the contrast, but again, my eyes seem to look okay. But I think because it's bold, it makes it more difficult to read. It's good that there's context and it kind of explain the topic a little bit more. But I'm wondering, I need to see the whole thing because I'm just looking at the image.
Yeah.
Just wondering how much text there is versus other things.
I think this is a topic where text is probably important to provide enough context. But I just think it's not a good idea to have your text all in color, like in this blue, because it means that the text looks more obvious to me or more pronounced than the actual map. The map is, dark with a few white dots, but the text is screaming at me. I would make that, and it's got like count of sheets. I don't know why there's a count of sheet 1 in there. But I would make sure to just make that white, make it nice and contrasty.
Yeah, it takes away a little bit, like you said, it takes away the focus, right? Because it's a lot of blue. It's nicely organized in the blocks and the font, and I think that looks nice, but I think it would be cleaner if it's just plain, well, not white, but kind of a little bit off-white, and just have it be thin or regular. It doesn't need to be bold.
Yeah.
And maybe make it, although it's me saying that, it could be a little bit smaller because it doesn't need to take up that much space, the text, I think. I think that could be, maybe just put the text to the left and everything else to the right. I'm not sure.
I think even making it non-bold will already make it look smaller or, look a bit lighter. That would be good. Okay. I'm just going to try something. Let me drag this down here. Oops. And where were we? Okay. So, Toby Williams next. So it's his first Makeover Monday by the looks of it.
Ooh.
Yes.
I don't know why I just said that. Sorry.
Okay, I'm just handling something here. Okay. Oh, this is in Power BI. Wow. Welcome, Toby. It's great to, see another tool and see what can be done there. What do we have? So, okay, protests against limiting abortion rights in Poland. And then there's a bit of context. When did the protests take place? Oh, interesting. Over 63% of the protests occurred around midnight. Now, I wonder where Toby is located. Because I wonder if this is maybe midnight where he is, but daytime where the protests were. Because I don't remember. Let me quickly have a look. Poland, abortion.
I don't know if all of them had timestamps on it.
'Cause a lot
Or
of
maybe
them
I could be
did.
wrong. I don't know.
Let me see. I don't know.
But that's an interesting observation. If all of that information is
Oh,
actually there, all of the
okay.
events.
Third night of protest. So, I mean, this is like a super, super basic Google search, but
Mhm.
it might be right. It just comes as a surprise to me because I would have thought protests are in the daytime when they're a bit more disruptive. At least disruptive in my view, but oh, you can just see all these ads at the top, what I've been looking for in the last few days. Yeah, so it looks like there might be, some, because this is AFP in Warsaw. That was 11 p.m. UK time, which is midnight Polish time.
Mhm.
Interesting. I think that's really clever. I like that. So what I would say then, if the most of the protests occurred around midnight, maybe push the midnight time window to the top left where we look first, and kind of go from midnight throughout the day, and then evening is in the far right bottom right corner.
Yeah, have the one has the most come first, and then just go, I suppose, back in time or forward in time, and then kind of follow the sequence, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be so that their focus is there first. I think that would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how clean this is. What I would suggest is the title. I think this is all Arial. There's quite a bit of color going on. So we've got the number of protests in orange, but then there's also text in orange and the title in orange. I find that a bit much, and it looks to me that the title and the text is connected to those orange area charts rather than being its own thing. I would maybe keep the title white and make it bold so it really stands out at the top, and then have those other sections. I'm not sure what you think about that.
No, the same. I like that the difference. You have like a question, right? When did the protests take place? And then you have the chart, which I think works really well. I'm not sure what that cumulative timeline adds extra on top of what we can already tell from where the spikes are. Is that to show the kind of how it kicked off in the beginning, kind of tapered down? I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably how it sparked and then it just so quickly spread across Poland, but also the world. That really early on, which is also a time when you look at like November 2020, 26 October. Then we go into November. I mean, that was the US elections. The whole of the world's media, was looking to the US. So it's good to see that there were still people protesting and focusing on something else that impacts, women in Poland.
Yeah, I would on the color. I think there's like three different ones. Where you have the orange and the white for the text, and then the beigey. I'm not sure what that is. Or maybe I just have a really bad monitor and it'll look nicer on a different one.
Oh, I just did something really cool. Are you in the interactive version?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because there's a map in the bottom left corner, and when you slide, you can basically say like what's the day of the protests, and you slide to the right, and it shows how it started in one place, and then it grows from there, and it kind of goes to
it looks much nicer on the interactive.
Oh yeah, it's like
scroll
boom,
down
and it grows. That's really cool.
Nice.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I would just keep it to. I like the colors. I would just keep it to white and orange and gray, and not have that beigey one in there. I think it would much slicker if it's just white and orange.
I agree. Yeah. Okay.
But it's really nice how you scroll down, and
Yeah.
very nice. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question from EK whether it skips hours, evening to 11 p.m., but morning doesn't start till 12 a.m. I'm guessing 11 p.m. includes 11:59 p.m., like everything that has the 11 before it, would be my guess. Now, do I
Yes.
do I have permission to just quickly share a picture of our puppy? I know this is because it's a really heavy topic, and she is so beautiful, and I just wanted everyone to have a smile on their face, and hopefully this picture does that. So
Is that the one with the big ears? The one where the
it's
ears
the
flop?
one with the big ears flopping. I might actually skip through to the next one, which is even better. She is really, really beautiful. So I hope this makes you all feel a bit lighter, and we'll go back to our visits. Okay, so then we have Samuel Apley. Next, yes, okay. So his viz is surprisingly colorful. Okay, great. People said permission granted. Excellent. There's always a bit of a delay. So Sam participates every week. He's very active, which is great. So abortion policy protests in Poland. I like that because, one thing I found difficult with this data set is that usually you can say they're pro-abortion protests or like anti-abortion protests. But in this case, that's not really the right terms to use. So it's really against the law that limits the rights to abortion. So yeah, so I think this is an elegant way to describe it: abortion policy protests.
It's always had a very nice design, like
It
very
does, yeah.
everything very centered and always looks very clean. The colors, that's the only thing that I'm not sure about, and that's just because of the topic, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I mind or if I don't mind. I can't make up my mind.
So what I would suggest here is, like, I like the inclusion of background and context information because it's important. But if somebody, like, if you look at this on my screen, most of the screen is taken up by text. And it's going to look a bit boring, to be quite honest. So I think bringing the viz up and maybe breaking up the background and context, you could have it on the side, or maybe have, one, like the top sentence first, then a bit of a viz, and then the other sentences. So it's not just text first. Could work well. And I agree with you, Marion, on the colors. I think if this was something about, LGBTQ or something like that, the rainbow would work. But I'm not sure if these happy colors, because they make me think of, M&Ms and balloons and confetti, and none of that really is an association I would have with abortion rights.
That's the only, I remember seeing this one before, and that's I was thinking the exact same thing. What you were saying.
What about spacing?
Sorry?
What about spacing? Because you do really great visits that always look beautiful. Do you think this is a bit squished? Like, it feels a bit compact, and I would love a bit more space vertically for all those different elements.
Yeah, I'm looking at the image. So I'm not sure. Online, is it the same squished, or did it just cut off the image?
Let me see. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
No, I think definitely give it more room to breathe, because if I thought maybe the image was just cut off to kind of show what's there, but definitely padding everywhere. On the top and bottom to the side. And I think it'll be, if you cut it in two or put the text in the middle, or break it up and give it more room to breathe, then I think this will look really well. It looks nice already, but that would be an improvement.
Yeah, I think it's got all the right elements. It just needs a bit of rejigging.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. I agree.
Then we have Kevin Wee, and he is on fire on the chat, and he's always here, which I really appreciate. And I do want to call that out, because there are some people who submit to Viz Review every week, and I do occasionally check, because I'm like, oh, we gave that person, feedback a few weeks in a row, but they never seem to make any updates. So what's going on?
Yeah.
And if people don't seem to make any changes, then we feel like we're talking to a wall. And it's great to have people like Kevin, like Sam, and others on the chat who we know, they're going to do something with our feedback. So that's why it really helps us as the feedback givers if you just say what you made of the feedback, and ideally show an updated viz as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was going to say something, but I forgot. I was going to say something really clever. It's just,
no.
it just went.
Well, hopefully it'll come back.
It will.
So next up we have Kevin Wee. Like I said, what's your first impression here on the viz, where the map is really the background?
Sorry, am I looking at the? Do I need to go online, or I was looking at the? I was looking at the image. With are we looking at the same thing?
It's a kind of gray and red.
Yeah. I like the visual of the pack, that like the circles, that kind of the circle timeline. I don't know if that's the word or not, but I like the visual of. I think it's very clean. There's not too much. I think it's the right amount of everything for me. I'm not sure if the bar chart at the end is needed. I'm wondering what it would look like if you just take that off and give the time, I'm going to call it the circle timeline. Just made that up. If it would look nicer without the bar chart at the end, because it's the big red block for Poland, right? The high number, and then like 3 red stripes, that it's very difficult to distinguish. I don't think it adds anything.
And I like your idea because it means that the circle shape of the map is it's repeated. That's the word I'm looking for. But the rectangles kind of look a bit blocky. So I agree. Yeah, I think just leaving that out. You could even just have a number, like just the actual number of protests or the percentage at the end rather than the bar, because I think those numbers are easy enough to comprehend, right?
Yeah. Also, or you could put I don't know if that you could how that would work in Tableau, but you could just put them underneath the country as well, right? And have that just be the total and like a dash percentage. But I think the block, because I like the circles. It's a nice visual, and the opacity and how they overlap and how their size. I think that's very nice for me, visually appealing. But then there's this big red block towards the right that takes my attention. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. And another suggestion about formatting would be to get rid of the box around the timeline, because it just looks a bit boxy. And I think it would blend in a bit more if it was just kind of without the border. Yes, but I like the map. I like that the countries that you've just used a darker gray for the countries that have data. That's really neat. And hover to read the details. Yeah, okay. Cool.
I need to look at these things online.
That's okay. All right. And then next, we have EK Data, who's also online and watching live. Okay.
I'm not sure. Okay. I'm looking at.
Okay, here we go. Political activism in the times. I think it would be political activism in times of a pandemic rather than in the times. Is democracy also down with COVID-19? Well, I wouldn't make that statement or question. I think that's a bit of a, I don't know. Would you say that's a bit of a stretch? Like I did a little bit of research into this topic, but I don't know if you can say that it's the end of democracy.
I don't think this has anything to do really with the topic of what it is, because I was for a second now looking at it, I was thinking I'm looking at something else, because I couldn't see anything mentioned about what they were protesting. Well, until I get to the bottom of the chart, right? I'm not sold on the title, just because it doesn't have anything to do with the topic itself. That's the
And I mean, this is maybe just a, I don't know, a philosophical question. But is this political activism? Are protests political activism generally? I mean, I don't know. For me, this seems like a personal thing that people go on the street. I don't know. Maybe that's fine. I just want to challenge it because I'm not 100% convinced. Plus, I don't know. I mean, okay, so this is interesting. So there's the connection between the pandemic and these protests. So what I'm guessing is, well, then my question, I guess, is this viz about the protest, or is it about the fact that the protests potentially caused more cases? Because it talks about the abortion policy being changed or those laws being changed, but then it suddenly talks about COVID. So what do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on the pandemic, or do you want to focus on abortion rights?
Yeah, I don't think one has anything to do with the other.
Yeah.
I don't. For me, I don't see the link there.
Well, I guess the link is people came together to protest, and that caused new spike. But that has nothing to do with abortions. It just has to do with protest and with people coming together. Yeah.
Oh, now I see. I was looking. I'm looking at the chart now, and I think he put some addition. Did he put some that day? I'm not sure. I apologize if I got it wrong. But there's some additional data in there on. I think it's COVID numbers, but I think the bars is the data with regards to the protests, and then the area chart seems to be a different set of data.
So EK commented, I tried to explore why the number of protests dropped and never recovered.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, okay. So they kind of went with a different topic. Because I didn't get that from, I obviously didn't, from looking at the text and then going all the way down, I didn't make that connection.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I'm wondering how to set up the text or the top piece, or how to rearrange it so people make that connection.
And it also makes me think, well, but should people not protest against something so fundamental? Because
True.
I mean, yes, people need to be careful, and there is a pandemic, but they also still need to have that right to, I guess, stand up for what they believe in.
Yeah. Yeah, and now I get the connection they were looking to make. So what I said before, forget that. But I think that kind of makes the point of how can we make that, I don't know, make that more clear. Because it's certainly interesting to look at the numbers that way and compare the two to see if there's a link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just frame it up a little bit different.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, this is tiny. Is it tiny or is it just my screen? Okay. So this is this is like the size of a phone. This must be like a mobile layout. Okay, so I'm zooming into 200% to fill up my screen. It's really blurry. Okay. I guess it's just a map.
Yeah. Which is fine, right? If that's what you're looking to show.
It looks like the map that Andy created, and I have to admit, I don't love the colors. I think red dots on blue is just, it makes me think of like measles or something. Like I think red dots.
Okay, now I see that. Now I see it too. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah. One thing I suggested to him in terms of colors is, why not make it white circles with a black border, or black circles with a white border or something like that. I just think red on blue, it's red and blue next to each other are fine, but red on blue I don't love. I find it hard to look at.
Yeah, maybe just have it all be black and white. That would look. Then I think that would be a nice change to make.
Now my question is, with this viz, and this topic, why should I care? This viz does not make me think either way about anything. It doesn't really inform me. It gives me a map and it says abortion activism in Poland, number of protests, but what am I supposed to do with the information? Am I supposed to think this is a lot, or there needs to be more, or like there's zero context, and I think that's a big challenge here.
Sure, no, that's a fair point.
Okay.
I think it's just like a simple like a small piece of text
Yeah.
could be enough, right, to kind of
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
help people connect to what you're trying to tell.
And then we have Alex Wallachek, who I know won't be dialing in live because he is in New Zealand, so he will be asleep, but waking up soon, no doubt. Okay, in solidarity with Poland, protests against limiting abortion rights in Poland. Okay, that's great. And then we've got text and we've got a circular timeline. One thing here that I would suggest is I have to read a lot of text before I understand how to read the chart. Would you agree?
I don't know. I can't make up my mind on that. Maybe it's because we've seen something similar before, so I kind of know what I'm looking at. But I suppose for someone that doesn't, it might make sense to.
And again, we have red and blue, and it just ends up looking kind of purple or burgundy or something. I find them hard to differentiate. I think this one could be really cool in black and white because you could have the white ones with a black circle on the outline being in Poland, and then maybe gray or black for all the other ones. Because I like the idea of seeing, early on other countries protested in solidarity.
I need to take another look at the data set because I was playing around with something, I think probably because I've seen it before, something similar, but more of with dots instead of circles. But I wasn't aware there's other countries mixed into it. So I need to take a closer look at that. But I think it's I don't know, we'd say nice and clean a lot, and clean, what does that actually mean? But there's not too much clutter on there. The logo I'm not sure about because it's very eye-catching. So that's the first thing that I see, and I don't know what it says until I get to the text. But I think this would look slicker if, like you said, right, have it just be black and white or more monotone.
Yeah.
And then maybe the logo could be there to make a statement. Right? But I'm not sure if you need to. Do you need to consider? Because I've asked myself this question a few times I saw some other folks use the logo as well, or the text, and you need to consider that other folks might not know what that actually means, the quote, and should you include that somehow?
Well, or using the English version of it, like Hania did in her dashboard.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that I couldn't. I don't know what's better there, but other than that, I think this is nicely done.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. All right. Then there's Dan Oppenheim, and I think he is also watching right now.
Okay. Let me see.
Oh my god, it's so funny when you say "let me see" because we use it for the puppy all the time to kind of get her to come to us and let us open her mouth and pull out whatever she has found and is chewing up. Let me see. Okay, sorry, Eva, focus. So this is Dan's viz, and the first thing I notice is that there is no title. It looks like it is a viz that would be part of an article or in a book or something, but not standalone. I'm missing a title because without a title, I don't feel inclined to look at it because I don't even know what it's about.
I would also consider turning the dots into bars. I think it's very difficult to compare and the volume across because it's dots, and I think it would be better if there's a line that goes all the way down, so it's easier to make the comparison.
I have an idea. So I've just opened Tableau. Let me just bring this on the screen.
Are you going to do a make? I'll have to. I need to watch the other makeover still. I need to go back to it.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, these two screen things are just why can I not? How can I make Tableau move to the other screen? God damn it! It's not letting me move. Oh, I think it's because I have this thing open. Maybe let me see. No. Oh, bloody hell!
All the swearing.
It's not. I can't move Tableau. How? No, I don't want to remove it. Okay, let's pop that back there.
It's a little bit different on my phone.
Options. Show all windows. Huh.
There we go.
I cannot, for the life of me, move Tableau to the other screen. Oh, well, this sucks. Okay, well, there we go. My idea is gone. I was going to just actually do what I was suggesting. But yeah, you suggested bars. What about turning those bars horizontal? So if you guys all... Oh no, I can't do editing here, right? Because it's not my own base, yeah. Oh, if I make a copy, explore a copy. Oh, now I can do it. Okay, here we go. I don't
exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's turn this around this way, and let's make it a bar. Ba-bum. And okay. How do I go back to the dashboard? Here we go. Dashboard 1. Where's the dashboard 2? Oh, okay. Let's go with dashboard 2. Now, what I would suggest is let's push this up a bit, and we could. Oh, where's my formatting? Okay, no, formatting is going to take too much time. But what you could do, I guess, I was thinking of maybe having the color legend explained in the first set of bars. You can't do. There's so much formatting that you can't do in this web editing. I didn't realize it was so limited. I was thinking you could maybe have the country name in the bar, which won't quite work for those really short ones like Asia, Australia, and Australia is spelled wrong, and United States. Maybe that doesn't really quite work. But I like your idea with the bars, Marion. I think that makes it much more obvious. And the horizontal bars are a bit easier, I think, on the eye than vertical ones because it's easier to compare length rather than height.
True.
And yeah,
how would because then the time would go down. But you put October on top and then February at the bottom, right?
Probably because you want to see like the big impactful 2 months, October and November at the start.
True.
Yeah. So having your color legend there is fine. You could even, what you could do is I'm just gonna see what we can do here. So there's no container, so I'm just gonna float some text. Oh dear, Poland, rest of Europe. Oh, that's not what I was gonna do. 3 spaces. Oops. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Asia, Australia. 1, 2, 3. You just have to go slow so it doesn't create a dot. United States. So now I want to go ASCII square symbol. Okay. It's always a bit of hit and miss whether I find the right. Oh yeah, whatever. Give me all the cookies. Give me all the cookies. Copied. Okay. And now paste it in here. And then it always messes up your maybe 10. I'm guessing this is the color. Okay. This might be a bit of a small one, so you might want to find a bigger one. Okay. So Poland would be. Ha! I can't believe I can't get the color. There's no color picker. Okay, we'll just make it up. Blue, and then rest of Europe is orange. Asia, Australia. Oh, Asia, Australia is. I think it's that red. You get the idea. And then we have this turquoise. I think it's that. Because then you can get rid of these pesky little color legends, make it a bit wider, and stick it at the top. Maybe you like that, just as an idea of, what you can do. And ASCII symbols are super helpful for that. And my suggestion was going to be, if we go back to wherever, so you've seen this now, I'm going to close it, we're not going to save it. So now it goes back to Dan's bit. So if you keep your circles, you could do the same I just did, but with a circle wherever you find the circle. Because that way your color legend kind of represents the same symbol as well. Okay, shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay, you get to start this next one, which is by Marquis T. And it's another map. So maybe we go quickly over the map comments and then move on.
Which one are we on now? Because
the grey maps with the red dots, the measles.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm just okay. Got it.
I think I like the layout.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice and clean.
Yeah, there's a title and then the subtitle. It kind of explains what's coming, right? What's being visualized.
I like the title being so succinct and protests against Poland's near total abortion ban. That sums it up really well.
Mm-hmm. How about the? I wasn't sure about the different maps next to each other.
It's a bit difficult because, I like that there's no dividers, but it makes it all look a bit like it's a bit close together. I think there needs to be more space between them.
Mm-hmm. And should it be one big map, or I kind of like that they're separate ones, although I'm not sure should they about the sizing of each,
yeah, because Poland is massive, Europe is okay, and then worldwide is tiny because they're trying to fit everything together, so that's a bit tricky.
Yeah,
maybe this would work better as a vertical layout, and you start with Poland and then you move on to Europe, because then the sizing is not really being compared. I think next to each other you compare the size, but if you just if this is skinnier and narrower and taller, you kind of scroll through and you're like, okay, first it's in Poland, and then it's in Europe, and then it's worldwide. So that could be something. Okay.
I think especially if you're going to compare how many protests there are, because I think that's kind of the point, and then the maps are kind of not sized equally, so it's difficult to well, you can't really make the comparison that way if you're going to put them next to each other. So maybe spacing it out more and putting it on top of each other would make more sense, and then have the text break up the blocks.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's move on so that we can squeeze in a few more. Next we have Ashik, and this one stood out to me because of the colors, really. Curious to hear what you think, because this is dark.
I like the blue with the yellow. I think it's I like the color combination.
I think it's really interesting how it's diamond shapes.
Yeah, I wonder what the shapes represent, actually, because there seems to be something that's encoded, but I can't really tell what it is.
I think the circles are all the actual locations, and then the diamonds seem to be the cluster of those locations. So
okay.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to maybe clarify that somewhere. because I didn't make that connection, but now looking at it, it seems like where you have, yeah, I would clarify that somewhere how you're supposed to. Well, I think it's obvious that it's about volume and kind of how it spreads and how there's more in certain regions compared to others. But it would maybe put a small annotation in there explaining that, because I think it's not going to be obvious for everyone. And maybe make the border around Poland, or maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on how you want to, what your goal is with this, right? If you want to be creative, then you could get rid of the border. If you want people to make that connection, maybe make the color of the border a bit more clear, because it's very faint in the back.
I think it's somewhat hard to see that this is about Poland. I mean, it says it in the title, but you can't really tell the country shape. Yeah.
Because you don't know, is this all of Poland or is this just like a part of Poland, right? And without seeing that border being a little bit more clearly defined, it's difficult to tell. But other than that,
and I think I would guess that most of the people that see this viz, or actually most everyone in the world, is probably not as familiar with Poland as they are with other countries. So this is a good opportunity to help them see, like, oh, this is the shape of the country, and these are the populated areas, or where protests happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think everyone now knows the shape of Poland. I certainly do, because I was going through that. I was kind of keeping an eye on what people were putting out, and it was all maps, and I think everyone knows now. But for those who don't, it will be good to have that be a little bit more, stand out a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well done, Ashik. It looks really cool. I think it's just, small, minor things. The next one is another map, and I just want to focus on color. I think that's the really obvious one here. And while I bring this up, I want to encourage everyone to give this video, this YouTube live stream, a thumbs up if you are enjoying it and if you're getting value out of it. Okay, so this is by Tanvi, Abortion Rights in Poland. I think the title probably should include that this is about protests, because otherwise people might immediately assume something about numbers with rights rather than saying this is the number of protests against the changes in abortion rights.
True, because you see the text and it's really big, and then you have the numbers and then you automatically make that connection, but it's not really that, it's something else. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. Okay. What I like, so I think it's a bit too much pink. Everything is in pink, and I think pink and purple, they're just colors that are just a bit too much when you use them for everything. What I really like in this viz is the section between the map and the big ass numbers. Abortion is now only legal in cases where the mother's life is at risk, the pregnancy is a result of a criminal act, because it makes it very, very simple to understand. With those arrows, I mean, I know this is how Tableau will format if you do dash and greater than, but again, you could use ASCII symbols to make like a neat arrow in there that works as text if you would like to.
Yeah, there's really nice, it's super simple. I use that one all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it. It's like a little triangles, right? Or dots, or there's other things as well.
Yeah.
But it's super easy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I encourage everyone to look at all the different ASCII symbols you can use. You would probably spend a lot of time doing that because you're like, oh my god, all the opportunities. But basically, they work as text. So you don't need to create an image that you float. You just chuck it in your text, and it formats nicely with everything. So
most will render correctly, especially the simple ones like the symbols.
Yeah. Okay, so this one is by Zainab. And I think she is on. Yeah, she's online. She just made a comment. So I'm just going to zoom out a bit because this is a bit bigger. And what I like, and what I have not seen in other vizes yet, at least the ones we looked at, is bringing in the voices of the women, which is in the top left corner. So these comments like, I think I feel outside, abortion is healthcare, and this is war. And I think this is so valuable because this is not random people protesting for the sake of protesting. This is really impacting people's lives. And, you know, I'm pretty sure there are also men amongst the ones who are protesting because, you know, every man has at least one important woman in his life, and that's his mother, because without her he wouldn't be around. But I think bringing those voices in is really powerful to make people think about the topic from perspectives other than their own. Okay, over to you. First impression.
No, I was thinking the same thing. I didn't know what it said, but if that's what it is, then I think it's a really nice addition to kind of bring home the story. I would maybe space out. I don't know if we need to space it out a little bit more, the top piece. And if possible, have that text kind of move a little bit to the right so it's not so squished to the red box. I think the other piece is the calendar, and then the timeline. And then the other one is, I think, we've seen the chart a few times. I don't know what you call them. There's a name for it. I don't know what it is. There's different elements to it. I'm wondering if we maybe take one or two away, if it would look cleaner. Because I'm not sure if, again, all depends on what you want to do, right? If this is going to be like an interactive piece where you want people to go online and kind of click through and get insights, then, you know, by all means, leave it down. But if it's kind of the point of, well, one, telling the story of what this is, and then putting focus on those individual voices, which I think is a really nice addition, then taking away some of the visual elements at the bottom will kind of put the focus more on that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the timeline looks the bar chart looks very clean, and the interesting visual at the bottom. Is there a map in the background, or maybe I'm not seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think those two combined look really nice. I don't think you need the calendar and then the bands there at the bottom. I don't think they add anything.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have to say, I think I like the calendar because it's a different view, but also it shows me, you know, so it's a bit slow to react, admittedly. But it shows me just how much was going on that every day, except for, you know, Christmas Eve, people were out. So I do like that. It's just, I mean, and this is not Zainab's fault, it just loads really slowly. Yeah. Okay, but I think otherwise it's a great idea. One thing I've noticed is while all these charts and the bands have this common, you know, these like rounded corner boxes around them, all the different elements look like they don't really fit together. So we have red rectangle boxes in the top left corner. They are not the same shape as those other boxes, and they're just red, rather than being maybe red font on a white box, which would be more consistent. And then we have this arrow from the logo of that movement, which looks a little bit out of place because it's got this other stuff in red in the top. And I think these red boxes remind me of when people, you know, make some edits in PowerPoint or draw some attention to it in the, like when they're still in the draft stage, it's like, okay, you need to change this kind of thing. I think it's too much red. I just find there's a lot of different elements that don't yet come together. I think if I cover up with my hand, I'm literally doing that right now, the top left corner, it looks really good, but the top left elements, they're not fitting in right now visually. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to add to that right now.
All right. Oh, we only have two more. I'm sure we can manage those if you have potentially a couple of extra minutes afterwards.
Yeah, I'm good on time.
All right. So then we have Mawada. And, Tab Republic is not particularly fast today. Okay, so I'll bring this up into full screen and... Oh, automatic sizing, it explodes. So hopefully, Mawada, you can see that. So when you use automatic sizing in Tableau, your screen just gets filled up. Now I have a 27-inch external monitor here, and it gets filled up by this stuff. And that's not ideal because now your really nice density map timeline looks really weird because everything gets blown up. So let me go out of full screen again so that we get some sort of normality into this viz, and it loads and it loads. I'm gonna actually talk to Tableau and tell them Tableau Public is a bit slow. But anyway, back to this. When I saw the image, I thought about the density blobs, and I think they don't quite work here. They make me think a bit of like lava or something, and on this black background. Plus, it talks about thousands of protests. Oh, sorry, thousands have been protesting globally, but I don't see thousands. Like I see 2020 and 2021, and then I see these like blobs. If this is the number of protests, I would make them individual circles just for more accuracy.
Oh, I was just looking at it. There's like, I'm not sure I get it. So there's time on the, okay, sorry, I have a brain freeze. X-axis, and then the years on top.
Yeah, I don't understand why that would be, because there would never be an overlap with a continuous x-axis.
It could just be a simple.
It could just be a single line, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Or really thin bars to kind of, if it's the point is to show the biggest number for this is more in the beginning and then kind of tapers down towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, don't need to separate out the whole point of a time series is to kind of show how it evolves over time, right? Not break it up into two different buckets. I didn't see the point of that.
Yeah. Okay. And there's too much space at the bottom, but I think that's due to the sizing rather than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Brendan Cornell. He is online as well.
Everyone is.
Yes, it's very good that we catch a lot of those people. So okay. I'm waiting for it to load. All right, so this is a vertical layout. It's quite tall. This is war. I don't want to try to pronounce the Polish version. Poland's abortion ban. So there's a bit of context, but I like that the sentences are quite short and I don't feel overwhelmed. And then we go straight into the viz. And here I would suggest putting the text, those 4 bits of labeling below the circles. What do you think of that?
I need to look at the text because I was looking at the image first, and I think my first impression is very eye-catching, and I want to know more.
Yeah.
And I like that the title has that it's this is war, and then the translation next to it. I think that's a really nice touch, and it's like a simple, small detail, but I think that yeah, I like details like that. The text,
So because you've got those little circles, 36, 1074, 30,000, and then however many. Now, above that, it says, for comparison, here are the numbers of Polish women who received abortions in 2019. But there are no numbers. There is text. And then there's a lot of white space, and then comes a number. So I would put the circles first, and then the text below. And then have maybe like a divider line or something before the next block of text.
I think you can, because you have normally if there was no if that sentence wasn't there, I would maybe say leave a text on top so you kind of know what you're looking at. But I think moving it to the bottom could be something to try and see how that works. Received a legal abortion in Poland that would still be illegal in 2021. Yeah, I think I would put them at the bottom as well, because this is about Polish women who received abortions in 219, right? So they kind of looked at the numbers for 2019, and if this were now under the new law, this is how many of them would be legal versus
Yeah.
everything else. Right? That's the interesting.
So
Okay.
basically, I mean, what I really like is that what I understand from this viz is there are potentially 300,000 women, based on 2019 numbers, who would
Yes.
be impacted by this new ruling.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe it was already illegal. I don't know, because there's 1,000 and a bit that had an abortion that would now be illegal, but then others, they travel to another country to get a legal abortion. The whole topic, I mean, it's really depressing, and I want people to, if they don't already know, like, this cannot be underestimated how bad this is, and for the women being impacted by this law, because I am pretty certain that none of them make this decision lightly, and it really boils my blood that there are old men deciding what women can do with their bodies, which it really is what it comes down to. And I think Brendan has done a great job in showing a bit of the impact on how many women are impacted by it. Yeah.
What I really like is the use of color. It's very smart, right? It's black and red, but the red is kind of used to highlight. It kind of ties everything together. If you kind of go from top to bottom, I think that works really well.
Yeah. And then he talks about the protests. Now, maybe to divide that bottom section up, there could be a small heading that actually mentions, there were protests, like just a small heading, a couple of words, and then there comes the text, just so that it's easier to see that this now moves on to a different topic within the same big topic. I do like the red and black. I don't love it on the map, simply because it makes me think of a ladybug. Like, I don't want to have all these ridiculous comparisons. I don't want to make it sound silly, but it does. No. It is a bit too much. So I wonder if this would be better with maybe a grey map with the black dots. I don't know. I really don't know.
You could maybe try with different colors, but I think it ties in the logo, right? So I think, well, I believe that's the purpose. Without it, it would. Is the logo under? No. Maybe try and see what it looks like with a different color. But I don't mind the red so much.
Okay.
I think it ties everything together, and it's the right words that are colored in red and the right things that are highlighted in red, which I think works really well and brings it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that takes us to the end. Now, if you're ready, Marion, I'm going to bring our faces back.
Yes, I'm.
And here we are. Okay, I'm just emerging, sitting back up straight. And it's getting dark, hence the lighting changing. It's so funny how it gets dark so quickly. But
I know.
Hopefully this was helpful for people, and that the feedback has been useful for your own visitors, whether we've reviewers or not. So my plea to everyone is to, make something of the feedback, have a think about it, see what you could change about your viz, even if it's just something small, like adding the source and your author name if you forgot, like me, or updating some colors, maybe a bit of formatting, and then upload the new version, because there typically are more favorites from the Viz review, and I think it's just because they get so much better once they've made some small changes, and usually it is small changes. All it is a bit of formatting. But please also, keep in mind, favorites are not actually the be all and end all. We would just want to encourage people to, I guess, work on their skills. But yeah, favorites will come out on Friday, and hopefully this week I'll get around to actually making a video. I haven't done that in a couple of weeks because it's just been no time.
It's crazy, yeah.
Ironically. But yeah. So I think that's it.
That was it for me. That was my, I think it was my last one, right?
Already? Oh goodness, yes, next week it's March, and it's going to be Andy Cotgrave joining me. Oh my God. Well, standing ovations for Marion. Thank you for joining me.
No, it's been really fun kind of sitting on the other side of this, because I've done this I did the same thing. I did it for 6 months and kind of participating and listening to the feedback every time and making these like tiny changes and keeping at it makes it'll pay off.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So keep putting your work out there and you know, and learn from it. Even if it's like a small thing or a small detail.
Absolutely.
All of these pieces will add up to progress at the end of it.
I mean, and we've collected people's names who came to us and said how, you know, participating in Makeover Monday helped them build their portfolio, helped them, you know, find a new job. And it really is true. You know, you can put in as much or as little as you want. Well, we won't judge, but you will get better with this regular practice, connecting with people, getting their feedback and all of that stuff. So use this opportunity because, you know, whatever we tell you, like, it's hopefully going to help you. But if you're like, oh, this is rubbish, you know, like, no one gets hurt, no one loses any money. Like, it's just free and it's meant to be fun. So yeah, make the most of that. And I do want to ask, because I do see Andy being on the chat, because I suggested to him we could do another Ask Me Anything, really just because I want to show the puppy on the camera. But he wasn't really convinced. So maybe people could comment if they would like to meet Maggie on a live stream. We probably have to time it around.
I say yes to puppies.
It's probably best in the evening when she's like exhausted and not chewing our ears off, but she is hilarious. But also we could combine it with a bit of an Ask Me Anything and people could, you know...
Oh, that would be so fun.
Questions. And
you can ask puppy things. Would that work? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And we just have to be a bit flexible in terms of one of us might have to just take her outside to go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Well, maybe people can leave a comment. Michelle is keen. She wants to have a Meet Maggie video.
Meet Maggie. Meet Maggie.
Oh yeah, Make It Monday, Meet Maggie. That would be fun.
Yeah, let's stop there.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go and make dinner. We're going to have gyoza. It's going to be delicious.
Jealous.
And Kevin suggests, how about a Working with Maggie stream? There is no Working with Maggie. We can only get work done if Maggie sleeps. She is very helpful. You know, she does the laundry, but she doesn't put it where you want it. She puts it and hides it somewhere. So, yes. Anyhow, we're going to all, I think, do our dinner things now. Thanks everyone for tuning in, for the chat. It's always fun. Looking forward to seeing what you create with the makeover, with the feedback. And then next week, there will be a new topic. I think it's going to be a bit lighter. But also, I want to say a big thanks to Hanya for preparing all this data and providing the viz and surely watching what everyone creates. Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. And that's it. Bye.